Daddy, come here. Daddy, come here.
There.
Let me guess, you got that on video.
Yep. This is my last pickup for Roehl Transport. I'm at a place here in Kentucky, and it's a drop and hook. And then I'm heading from here to Gary, Indiana to relay it. Dropping this truck off, and that's it for me and Roehl. But you railmen, keep on trucking. Keep on keeping on. I'm not trying to discourage you at all. I'll kind of explain it more in the video. But yeah, this is the last one, so I kind of wanted to catch that part. Kind of different feeling in a way. Not really such a bad thing, but this is where I got started at. You know, it's just one step in the journey, but here we go. Pick this one up and then bring it to Gary, Indiana. It is definitely a lot greener than when I started these videos, isn't it? Look at this now. Hot today too. Got it loaded up. Loaded in Kentucky. I'm taking it to Gary, Indiana. It's the last one. I think it was 299 miles from there where I picked it up at. So right at 300 miles. Last one. And what I'm planning to do anyways, because I got to get a rental car. By the time I get there, it's going to be so late. They're going to be closed. So I'm planning to just stay in this truck for the night. And then in the morning, turning my keys in. I've already got the truck emptied. As you can see, I've got out over that curtain's kind of in the way, but I've got the fridge and everything out. So I didn't bring my bag with me or nothing. I just got this outfit because I'm heading home tomorrow, and got some good old from Kentucky there, from the Bluegrass L8, Diet L8, some of the Gingy. But yep, this is the last one, so it's a different feeling. I don't feel bad about this. I'm going to explain more of that in this video. I just trying to get a few clips to add in here of kind of the end for me and Roehl, but not saying anything bad about Roehl by any means though. I'm going in this rest area here. I'm in Ohio right now, and then from here I'm heading on to Gary, Indiana. I'd say I'll probably be 3 or 4 hours or something, probably 3 hours, something like that, 3 or 4, and then I'll be there. So we'll see how long it ends up taking. It shouldn't take too much longer though. Like I said, about three or 4 hours, I'd say. Variant US Express. That's the company I'm going to right there. That's the company I'm going to, US Express. So neat. I've been noticing their trucks. I've noticed their trucks before. They're usually red Freightliners like this, but they have the US Express logo instead of Roehl. Anyways, I'm gonna head on here to this rest area, use the bathroom, then head on that way to Gary, Indiana. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So I've attempted to do this video probably 3 times or so now, and I wanted to do it while I still had this truck, really. So this is my 3-month review on Roehl Transport, what I think about it. This is my last load that I'm taking right now, and I'm sitting at a rest area, and I've got time, so they're kind of just sending me from Kentucky with this load to Gary, Indiana. And then from there, I'll be, you know, turning the truck in, and that's it. So 3 months was the most that I'll have done with Roehl Transport once I get this turned in. And it's nothing to do with Roehl, really, honestly. Not so much to do with Roehl as it is just kind of over the road. And so I'm going to talk about what it's been like for me. Hopefully you can hear me because I've kind of got that air on. It's very hot today. I would say around 80 degrees. Everything's really greened up. I've been saying, you know, in my videos that I look forward to seeing everything green, and I'm getting to. And actually, so I have something lined up with another company already, and the company that I'm going to requires 3 months of experience, and it's touch freight, but it pays from $1,400 to $1,700 a week. So I'm going there, and it's a dedicated route. They have a terminal in Kentucky, and I'm only going to be delivering to Family Dollar. So I'm going to get more into that later, but I want this video to be more about Roehl Transport. So as far as Roehl Transport goes, I've always said I think Roehl is a great place to start out to get your CDL. They have the GY CDL program. They have they put you with a trainer for 3 weeks around that, And so you get some training, you know, with the trainer out there with you. The trainer's awake with you the whole time. To me, that's great. Things like Prime, for example, to where the trainer's sleeping, has the option to go sleep while you, somebody who's hardly been behind the wheel of a truck, is up there driving, to me is ridiculous. And really, it's a shame. And I seen a video of a guy getting killed who was a trainee while his trainer was up there in the bunk. And as I said before, if that trainer would have been down here like he should have been, sitting next to him, that he could have told him to slow down, and that probably would have been avoided. But the guy's up here sleeping while a guy who has hardly any experience is driving, and they both were killed as a result of that. So to me, that's absolute foolishness. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just telling the truth. Sometimes you guys say things in a blunt way and just say it like it is. It doesn't mean you're trying to be mean. The way I look at it, and I believe that's just the truth. So I do really respect Roehl's training methods, the way that your trainer is awake the whole time with you. I recommend Roehl at this point. I'm leaving Roehl, but I recommend Roehl 100% still. And I'm going to explain why. So the GYCDL program, to me, that's a great program. Their instructors are great, their trainers are great. And then, you know, you get put in a truck by yourself. That whole process was great for me. After, I think it was just after a month of being on my own, you know, without a trainer, I'd finished that. I was in phase 3, what they call it. A month of doing that, they sold the truck I was in, and at first I was kind of aggravated about it because I didn't want to move all my stuff that soon, you know, into another truck. But then when I seen they were putting me in a brand new 2025 Freightliner, I was happy, you know, about it. Because like one of the outlets in my old truck, I think it was a 2018 or 17, one of the outlets back here where the refrigerator goes did not work, so I could not hook my fridge and microwave at the same time in that truck. And also the co-pilot had issues too. The mount for it had issues. The mount was broke. So this truck right here is a 2025 Freightliner. I've got it cleared out at this point. My mattresses are in here, and all I've got in here with me now is I've got a coffee right here, and I've got some of the Gingy from Kentucky, Diet L8. I've got a 12 pack of those. I picked those up when I left this morning. So I'm turning the truck in today. Roehl was really good with me about it and everything. They didn't fire me. I told them of my own free will, I'm done with it, with this type of trucking. And the main downfall of over the road or regional, I guess you can call it regional, but what regional? There's regional and national. Roehl puts those both in the over the road category. Because they told me when I started, you know, I signed the contract for 120,000 miles, that had to be over the road. And what they consider over the road is regional and national, which makes sense because you're staying in the truck, you're sleeping in the truck. The only difference is national covers a bigger area than regional, but both is the same lifestyle. You're out over the road, you're away from home for a period of time, you're sleeping in the truck, you're staying at truck stops, you're taking showers at truck stops. You know, it's the same exact lifestyle, except you're out in, you cover a bigger area with national and you're out longer with national. That's the only difference. But you're over the road in both of them, you know. I guess different places classify that different, but I consider them both over the road myself. Now, something like some of your dedicated routes and some of your local routes, I guess. I don't know if dedicated necessarily is any different than regional, really, except for the fact that maybe you've got a set amount of places you go to. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that one out. I've only done regional so far, and that for 3 months, you know. Where I'm going to, I'm going to be doing a dedicated route. So I'll update on that as I go, and it will be all touch freight, you know. And the pay, like I said, will be going from 800 to 1,000 a week, which is what I get here at Roehl, to 1,400 or 1,700 a week, which is before taxes though. But I watched a guy in the video, and he was bringing home, I think, 1,500 after taxes on average. He showed his check stubs actually. So, you know, go from that to 900 average, you know, I would say here at Roehl. And I'm not trying to put Roehl down. Really the only con at Roehl Transport, I would say, is their pay. But Roehl is a great company to start out because, like I said, you've got to, my cousin got his CDL. He paid $5,000 to get his CDL. So most people cannot come up with $5,000, I don't believe. I've got a wife and kids. I mean, you can, but you got to have a pretty good job to do it, like trucking, really. But even then, and I'm not trying to bring Roehl down. I give Roehl probably like a a B out of you know, an A. Or if you want to do it from 1 to 10, I would give them like an 8.5 or a 9, honestly. But as far as a place to start with, but now as far as a place to stay with Roehl, to me, the only way I would stay with Roehl, really, as far as their pay goes, and this has all been recent changes for me, because I only recently got the amount of miles that I wanted to get to show a check. I was going to make a video on it. I got 2,466 miles. But when I got to looking at it, when they paid me for that check, they had also put a load from the week before because I had messed up and I didn't get that BOL turned in time. So they ended up putting that BOL on that check where I got 2,466 miles, and I brought home over $1,200. I think around $1,240. I made over $1,500, you know, before taxes, and I brought home $1,200 and something, which is good. But that was because of that load, you know, too, that from the week before. And so really, I brought home around $1,000 for 2,466 miles, which was a disappointment to me, and that was recently that happened. And so my mind has been changed a little bit about Roehl. You know, I've been saying this whole time I'm content with this, and I know that I'm getting experience, and I know that. But at the same time, just after 3 months, like some people would say I've got off track because I've decided to go with a different company rather than Roehl, and I'm going to pay my contract. I'm willing to do that. I'm fine with that. But I don't see it as off track. I see it as I've been on track with this trucking journey, and then as time went on, you know, 3 months of being on track, other routes open up, you know. I could have continued on this track of Roehl Transport for another probably a year at least, I would say, to complete my contract, because right now I've got around 22,000 miles altogether for Roehl, if I'm not mistaken. So at the rate I've been going, it would take me, I would say, around a year from this point on, and I've already been here 3 months, another year, so around a year or 3 months to complete that contract. And I could continue in this regional thing to where I'm dealing with these bad attitudes at these shippers and consignees, and that's the main downfall for me, is as far as the regional lifestyle of a trucker goes, is dealing with these shippers and consignees. And this past Friday, I dealt with possibly the worst one yet. He was right there with a couple of the other ones I dealt with, and I'll explain that more in another video. This one I want to be more of just Roehl Transport review. But and it wasn't any fault of Roehl the way things went between me and this guy, and I'll explain that situation later. But at that point, when I left there was the last load I had to do for that week. It was on Friday. It was on Friday. Yeah, it was on a Friday. And anyways, I ended up leaving the load there and everything. It was so bad. I called Roehl and told him, I said, look, I'm done with this. I'm done with doing this over the road thing, regional thing, whatever you want to call it, dealing with all these attitudes at these shippers and consignees. It's the main downfall of trucking, I would say, is the people that you deal with. And before I said the main downfall, or the main con, I guess you could say, of trucking, of over the road trucking or regional trucking, where you're out living in your truck. The main downfall I said before, but the main downfall or main con before that I mentioned was things being out of your control. Well, that's a definite number 2 now. The main con for sure, it's not a Roehl Transport thing, it's an over the road thing or a regional thing where you're going and dealing with a wide variety of shippers and consignees. The main downfall is the people that you deal with there. And this was a yard guy there that I dealt with that day. I've dealt with people that were, I don't know what they were exactly, but they were inside, and I just had to get their signature. And this guy didn't even have to approach me. He just decided to. I was docked that day. I was leaving it empty there, and I was picking up a loaded trailer, and that was it. That was all I had to do. And I had already dropped the empty, and he came over there and right from the beginning, the guy had a horrible attitude. And I could tell by the way that he approached. And it just kind of escalated from there. And I ended up leaving the trailer. And I'll explain why later on. And I didn't pick up the loaded one either. I knew at that point in my mind I was done. And here's the thing another guy said, I heard him say in a trucking video, and I know I'm gonna have people probably say I did the wrong thing, and some may say, well, yeah, I don't blame you, I don't know. And I don't mean this in an offensive way, I don't really care. What it comes down to is what I decide to do for me. Like that guy said, trucking is a very personal thing. Things that work for you may not work for me. Like a guy whose videos I've watched, you know, and I enjoy, and I like his personality and stuff. he was a railman as well. He worked at Rail for 6 months, I believe. He found a better opportunity, and he ended up leaving Rail for this better opportunity, where he was making a minimum of $1,400 a week, a minimum, and he was home every day, local. I don't blame him at all for doing that. I don't call him wrong. But now, in his comments, I seen where a guy was saying, a guy who only had 2 months experience was telling him that he was selfish and he was wrong, and he did the company wrong and everything by doing this. And the guy acknowledged in his own comment, in his own words, that he said, yeah, lots of these companies are dishonest about their pay, but you're selfish because you left. Well, you're acknowledging that they're dishonest about their pay, but that this man's selfish because he leaves because of their dishonesty. They tell him he's going to make this amount to this amount, and he's selfish for leaving. I wanted to clarify too that I'm not saying Rail is dishonest. If you go and read what they say, it's kind of, they do it in a smart way, but they say something to the nature of, after most drivers with 1 year of experience or more average, I think, $13.40 a week or something like that. So they, and I remember that now that I checked it today to see what they said. I remember even thinking to myself, well, they're saying after a year, and I even asked them on the phone, I think, before I got started, well, what is it for somebody that doesn't have a year experience, you know? And if I recall correctly, when I asked them that, they said they didn't have any documentation on that or something with somebody with less than a year. So I can't say for sure that it's Rail being dishonest, honestly, you know. But I think it is kind of, I mean, I guess kind of, I don't know, a way to draw you in when it says $13.40 a week average, but it does sit there and add with a year of experience. So that's a big part, you know, for you, because you don't have a year of experience when you start out. So I would say honestly, based on what I made, and my check stubs are in the video for the last 10 weeks, I would say you average $900 a week, at least until you get your raises, you know. I think I literally just hit a raise maybe here at 3 months, but I'm not going to get to see that, you know. So, but I'm fine with that. But I just wanted to make that clear. I don't want to sit and accuse Rail of things that aren't true, or even try to bring Rail down. That's not what I'm trying to do. I do recommend Rail. I have nothing bad to say about Rail. The only con is the pay. That's it. And so I'm trying to make that as transparent as I can, what my pay has been like. That way you have somewhat of an idea of what to expect coming into Rail, as somebody that doesn't have experience, you know. Somebody that has experience already, maybe when you come into Rail, I'm not sure how that works. Maybe you start with a higher pay. You probably do, you know, if you've got a year of experience or something. But I'm speaking from somebody with no experience, you know. But I can tell you, I've had the same conversation with my second fleet manager, because 100% I was not getting the amount of miles that they made it out to be, or the amount of money. And I told him that clearly. I said, look, y'all are telling me that I'm going to make, you know, I can't remember what it was, average $1,200 a week or something, and I'm making $700, $800 a week. I said, that's not okay, and I'm not going to stay here for that. And I told him that then, and I mentioned this in my videos in the past. And it's not so much Rail, though. I would say that's the thing. I want to clarify on that. That guy left because his pay was not meeting what Rail said it would be. And I don't blame him at all. I truly don't. For me personally, I'm not leaving because of the pay, really. I am disappointed with it, but I made 1,000, you know, with that week of 2,466 miles. And I will say that with this latest fleet manager that I got, who I just found out recently through the Rail app, quit right around the same time that I did. She quit because I seen a message that she sent on there, a comment where she was saying she wished everybody the best. So she quit around the same time that I did. But I will say that since I had her as a fleet manager, I don't know if it was her and the planners that she had, if it was a different group of planners than the guy before her, or if it was the time of year, or if they were hearing my complaints and realizing that, hey, this guy isn't going to stay if we don't give him more miles. I'm not sure, but something changed when I got that fleet manager to where I got around 2,000 miles a week at least, around that. And compared to, you know, 1,400 to 1,600 miles a week before, with the fleet manager before, which was bringing me, which I was bringing home around $700 a week or something on it. That's just ridiculous. You've got to, in the end, and I said this a long time ago, I am loyal to me and my family over Rail, 100%, or any other company. And that's 100%. And what I mean by that is, I will be loyal to the company. I will do good. I will try to do good for the company and keep my word and be a hard worker. I will do that, but you have to keep your part as well. Don't tell me I'm going to make this amount and then me make this amount. Well, with Roehl, honestly, at the beginning it was like that. But here of late, since I've had this new fleet manager, with has been for the last, I'd say, month and a half, something like that. It's not been, they've done good with the amount of miles I've got. I was disappointed with the pay that I brought home though for that amount of miles. For 2,466 miles, I brought home only around $1,000 after taxes. And to me, that's not the greatest. I was hoping more for around $1,200 for that amount of miles, to be honest with you. Because I only got that amount of miles one time. The whole time in this whole 3 months I've been with Roehl. Every other time it's been less than that. So I was kind of disappointed with that amount of pay. That being said, I'm not leaving Roehl because of the pay. I'm leaving Roehl because the contract that I signed with Over the Road, where I had to be regional or national for 120,000 miles, I chose regional. I'm living in my truck through the week. You know, I'm away from my family, and I knew all that going into it. I knew that was part of it. But something I did not know, something I was unaware of, is how frequent you would have to deal with these just horrible attitudes from these people at the shippers and consignees. Horrible. I don't know if it's everywhere like that or if everyone deals with it. I'm guessing if I'm dealing with it, other truckers are too. And for me personally, and I'm not saying just bad attitudes to where they're somewhat hard to deal with and they're rude. I'm talking about people, I've only had it on about 3 occasions. People who just have horrible attitudes, absolutely horrible attitudes, and go farther than just bad attitudes, but even go as far as calling you names and making threats and shoving stuff at you, to that point. And that is just something I'm not willing to deal with. And I know things can escalate and get out of hand, and bad things can happen really quick in those situations. So I don't want those situations. I never did, you know, and I didn't realize they were so frequent in trucking, but I have found for me they have been. And so that's the main reason I left. It's not because of Roehl's pay, but I will say the main con, really the only con at Roehl Transport, I would say, is their pay. I do not regret the path that I took with Roehl. I know that many of you are starting with Roehl. So many of you are a railman already, and you're in the process of becoming a railman. What I've called it this whole time, kinda, just for fun. So a Roehl Transport, you know, employee, a truck driver for Roehl Transport. I know, and I'm not trying to dissuade you all. I do not regret it at all. I actually think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I truly believe that. To join Roehl Transport and get my CDL and get some experience, some training through them and experience through them. I do not regret it at all. And I do not regret leaving either, at all. I'm willing to pay that contract with a job that I believe I'll like better, that pays better, and that with time will open up even more opportunities for me. I'm not saying I'll stay with that job for real long, you know. At 6 months, other opportunities will open up for me. My main goal from the beginning has been, in the long run, local, and in the longer run, a tow truck driver. And that's where I've still got my eye at, you know. I've still got my eye on that goal. That's still where I've got my mind to make it to, and I intend to. But I know that at the beginning I have to start out with somewhere like Roehl, you know. And I'm not saying Roehl is a bad place necessarily to stay in the long run, but honestly, for me personally, when I look at Roehl's pay compared to other people's pay, in the amount of time it takes you to move up at Roehl, I think there are better opportunities that will present themselves to you just after 3 months, after 6 months, and after a year, to where you would do better, honestly, at another company. Unless you choose to be an owner, operator, or a trainer. That's the only way I can see it. As a company driver, I don't see it being better with Roehl than it would be another company after a year of experience. But I could be wrong. I won't be here long enough to say. I can say this. I've found an opportunity after 3 months that has presented itself that is better for me. And to where I'll only be going to one branch of store, which is the Family Dollar. So I'm hoping that because of that, I won't have to deal with all these personalities, you know, these different personalities. I know I have to deal with different personalities, but I love Dollar Generals and dollar stores. I go to them a lot, and usually the people that work there are pretty laid back. For whatever reason, these places that I go to as a Roehl truck driver, regional truck driver, they're not very laid back. It's very common that they're actually the opposite. They're just rude, downright rude. And they make your job so much harder than it has to be. And so for me, that is why I left Roehl. That is why I'm going to orientation next Monday. For this company, I've got 3 days of orientation through them, and then I get a truck. And then the only difference is, and this is the only downfall with this company I'm going to that I can see right now, is I'm only going to have 34-hour reset on the weekends, Whereas at Roehl, as a regional truck driver, you get 48 hours. And they've been giving me that. Since I've had this new fleet manager, she's been giving it to me the whole time. Like, I'll get home usually Friday evening, and then I'll be off Saturday and Sunday, and I'll go back early Monday morning. Or sometimes I'll get home Saturday morning, and I'll have Saturday and Sunday off and go back Monday morning. My other fleet manager was trying to get me to go, you know, within 40 hours or less, you know, and I kind of put my foot down with that, because at Roehl, the agreement is, as a regional truck driver at Roehl, you get 48 hours off. So I expected that, and they ended up living up to that, you know, with this new fleet manager. But like I said, I don't want to make this too long. I do not regret going to Roehl. You all that are going to Roehl, I think you made a great decision. Don't let this video try to make you think don't let this video make you think otherwise. Because I'm not trying to say that at all. It's really not Roehl the reason that I'm leaving. The main con with Roehl, the only con with Roehl, is their pay but with time, you can move up in pay with Roehl as an owner operator or a trainer, and you get raises as well. You know, I've only been here 3 months, so I'm not going to get to really see those raises, what they are. But I'm after 3 months, there's opportunities to where I don't have to wait on a raise. You know, I'm going to average 1,400 to 1,700 starting out, and then with those companies I can get raises as well, if I'm not mistaken. And it's physical, it's all touch freight, so I will show you that, and I'll kind of show you what it's like. But I'm not trying to dissuade you all at all or talk down on Roehl, because I'm very thankful to Roehl Transport. They've been good to me. They have. Roehl has always been good to me. I can't say anything bad about Roehl. I had one fleet manager who I did not like dealing with, and I've said that in the videos, and you may have that too. My trainer did, because he told me. So you may, that really just depends on who you get as a fleet manager, honestly. You've got good and bad people really in about everything you do. Good attitudes and bad attitudes and everything out there. Anyways, that being said, I'm going to head on, get this load to Roehl Transport, and I'll probably try to upload this video today while I'm there. I may add a little bit more into it actually while I'm there. And then I'm going to make videos on the whole process of me going to this new company that I'm going to. And it's a much shorter process. I don't have to be with the trainer at all, they said, because I'm an experienced trucker now. Just so happens that I'm past that 3 month mark now, which is the minimum they require. And they also count your training time towards that time. So I've actually got close to 4 months since they count that. So that works really good for me. But I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for the kind comments. I know there's going to be mixed opinions on this. But what it comes down to in the end, just like the one guy said, it's a personal thing with trucking. It's personal. What works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. Like the one guy that was telling the guy, you know, the other guy that was with Roehl, he was selfish. Well, for him, he may have been leaving his parents' house. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying for sure. Or he may have left renting a home and just going to stay in the truck, you know. And so he doesn't have any bills. I'm not sure. So he was saying he was making $700 a week or something. Well, that's not going to work for everybody. For me, that's not going to work. And honestly, for somebody that's got a CDLA and who's out here spending as much time as you are away from home, as a regional or national driver for Roehl, I believe you're worth more than $700 a week personally. But that's up to you. If you're satisfied with $700 and that works for you, that's fine. But don't call somebody else selfish, really. I don't think it's smart to call somebody else selfish, because that doesn't work for them, because that does not work for me. I can tell you right now, it's me, my wife, and 4 kids, and I'm spending right now around $350 or more a week on groceries alone. So making $700 a week, no, that wouldn't work for me. So it comes down in the end, it's a personal thing. It is going to be a little rough at the beginning, I think, for anybody, especially in this horrible economy that we're in right now that's been destroyed by this failed leadership. But to where $1,000 now isn't what it was, you know, 4 years ago or 5 years ago. It's just not. Groceries alone will show you that really quick. But I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for the kind comments and everything, the supportive words. And I will continue trucking. I'm going to keep on keeping on. This is just a stepping stone for me. Like I said, I don't consider myself getting off track at all. I consider myself progressing on the track and then coming to a crossroads at the track to where I can continue on this track, or I can take a different track and see what that one brings me. And that's what I'm planning to do. And that's trucking, really. It's huge. It's a huge industry. It is. And I wish you the best, though. I truly do. And I'm thankful to Roehl. I'm not saying anything bad about Roehl. Everything with Roehl is good. Their training, their professionalism, their equipment, the way they manage things, everything to me is good at Roehl. The only downfall with Roehl, the only con, is their pay is not that great. I appreciate all your kind comments and everything. You all that are getting at Roehl, I wish you the best with it. I hope to keep up with you. Hope you progress and get to what works for you. Because other people will tell you you're doing wrong, but in the end, if you've got a family or if it's just you, you've got goals, you know what you need to do for you. Keep on keeping on, Roehlman. Some of you I may still get to meet out on the road. I'll be doing a dedicated route from Kentucky because they've got a terminal there in Kentucky, so I'll be going to Georgia, I think Indiana. I'll actually be going to more states with this company than I did with Roehl. Quite a bit more, about twice as many. So I may run into you still, and hope to keep up with y'all. I wish you the best in your trucking journey at Roehl. And if you move on from Roehl, I wish you the best with that. If you stay with Roehl, I wish you the best with it. I want to make it very clear. I wanted to come in here at the end again and make it very clear. I have nothing bad to say about Roehl. Roehl's always been good to me. The only con, I'm just trying to be honest, is their pay. But even then, you know, because if you look at their thing, they kind of do it smart the way they talk about their average pay. What they put is that their drivers with 1 year of experience, at least 1 year of experience, average 13 something a week. So that's with 1 year of experience. So your first year, I don't think you're gonna get that. Though my trainer said he did with a dedicated route, I never even got close to that. You know, I got around 1,000, maybe a little over 1,000, you know, for 2,466 miles, which is the most miles I ever got in the 3 months that I was here. But not trying to talk bad about Roehl at all. I do not regret it. But at the same time, I think it's a smart decision for me to move on, especially with the way that things are going with the over the road, you know, these people that you deal with. That to me, as I said, is the main con. It's more that than Roehl, that as far as why I'm leaving. But I wish you all the best. You all be safe, whatever you're doing, and God bless.